everyone, this is Elisa and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Startup Celebrity Show where we showcase emerging starlets. Haha, so super exciting. So today I want to introduce to you another Tracy, and this Tracy is very interesting. She can bend her body all over the place, and this is something that I want to achieve. So let's hear from her. She's also a member of the Spiritual Entrepreneurs, and that's how she got to know of this opportunity. And if you're not part of my community, go ahead and join the community. It's called the Spiritual Entrepreneurs on Facebook, where we're hosting more than 17,000 members from around the world. Excuse me. So, alrighty. So, who's Tracy Robin? She is a certified life coach and business mentor for yoga teachers and holistic women entrepreneurs. A certified Kripalu yoga teacher, and this ERYT 500. I'm not sure what it is, but let us find out from her later on. The co-owner and founder of Shine Yoga Center in New Jersey in the USA, and the director of Shine Yoga Center's teacher training and certification program. So maybe I need to go to her for that program. Anyway, she also founded the Yoga Lifestyle with Tracy and Holistic Women Entrepreneurs, global and local meetup groups to provide community, education, and support for high-touch entrepreneurs. So let us find out what high-touch means, right? As they build their businesses. Tracy is passionate about empowering women to be able to fund their lifestyle they desire by doing their meaningful work in the world, which creates positive impact in the lives of others without sacrificing their own health, happiness, relationships, femininity, and integrity in the process. You know what? I'm just going to turn the screen to her so that she can tell you exactly what she does. Alrighty. Hey, Tracy, how are you?
Hi, Elisa. I'm great. So great to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, there's so many questions in your bio. What does that H something something mean? Like 500?
So there's different levels of certification in the yoga community, and there's a National Yoga Alliance, which is basically an organization that.
Oh, by the way,
yes,
your hair's straight.
Yes, that's awesome.
Like
I know I got it cut, and he straightens it when I cut it because little change.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm like, something not right.
Something's as soon as I wet it, it'll be curly again. It's all good.
Okay, sorry, I just had to interject. All right, go ahead and continue.
I love it. Everybody takes a second take. They're like, wait, something's different. So the National Yoga Alliance is basically a credentialing organization that takes yoga teachers who have been certified and through schools that meet the requirements for the basic minimum. So it's kind of like ICF for coaching, but it's for yoga. And so the Yoga Alliance is a credentialing organization. So my school, my yoga center, is also a registered yoga school as well. So it means that I have had 500 or more hours of training.
I see. It all makes you a very credible yoga teacher. So before I actually forget, because I have 3-second memory, what does high-touch entrepreneurs mean in your definition?
I love that question. So high-touch entrepreneurs is, in the holistic community particularly, it's folks that have clients that tend to need a lot of either in-person contact or like we're doing where they need to be really, it's not like they're going to just click and pay and stuff like that. Like they don't want to just, it's not I just want the online course and I'll do it on my own type of thing. There's a little bit more, it's really connection, like I find this to be high touch because I see you see me. And I think that this is more of the high touch in the high tech world that we live in. Mm-hmm. But many of the holistic entrepreneurs that I deal with, high touch is Reiki practitioners, massage therapists, yoga teachers who are in person with you and actually physically in the space with you. And a lot of that community wants to open up to a more global space. And, this online high touch platform such as Zoom allows that to happen.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it. So what's your story? I mean, how long have you been doing yoga? Why are you so passionate about yoga in the first place?
So I started practicing yoga when I was working in corporate. I was working,
And that was how many years ago?
that was, let's put it this way, it was 1995. 1994, I graduated from school. I had gone away on a trip for 2 months. I backpacked through Israel and Greece. It was wonderful. And then I got a job in 95 working for Jive Records. There was a couple other things. I did like some interning, and I got a job working for A&E. Do you know the channel A&E, producing Biography? The show Biography?
Mm.
Well, anyway, I did that.
So before 1995, you had no yoga base. You had no foundation.
Well, okay, that's a great question. So I did not realize that I had a yoga base before that. So in 1995, I was working in the music industry, and very soon thereafter got very stressed out. And my cousin decided to say, she said, "You got to get to yoga class." And I honestly was like, "Are they going to make me shave my head?" Because I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea what it was. I didn't know from yoga. I had been meditating, however, since I was like 12 or 13. I found that very comforting for me. And when I got on the actual formal yoga mat, I finally went to that yoga class back in, I guess it was 97 or 98, the first actual formal class. I had this awakening that, like, oh my God, I've been doing these my whole life. I had been doing yoga and I did not realize it. Nobody told me, "Oh, you're doing a yoga pose." And I just didn't realize it. So it just really all came together for me. And I had been so stressed that when I got on that mat, I had such an emotional release and a coming home to myself that I instantly knew that I needed to share that with as many people in the world as I could.
Right.
That's how I started doing yoga.
What if I cannot like do this backward bend thingy? I mean, so what does yoga really mean? Like to me, as like somebody who does not practice yoga, I look at yoga and I'm like, well, no way, man, I won't be able to do this. And before I even continue, I'm like, I just talk myself out of it. So what is it really about? Is it really about the bends? I mean, tell us more.
The yoga practice, there's what we see in magazines and books, on TV and video and all this thing all over the internet. What we see are people that have been practicing yoga who have gained the flexibility, but most people don't start there. Right. Most people don't. I've been doing yoga for a large part of my life. I was dancing in school plays and all that. So I had the flexibility and the mobility, but most people don't have that. Most like normal bodies, we lose that as we get older. So yoga is really an opportunity for you to get connected with your body where you're at. And I think that has been lost in the modernization of an ancient practice. I think there has been some loss in the remembering that it's actually not about achieving a posture.
Right.
The postures are they're a doorway in. And that's really what the yoga lifestyle for me is about. The postures on the mat are a doorway into the deeper reason we're practicing to begin with. The yoga practice, the physical postures were actually created so that you could sit in meditation for longer periods of time comfortably. So it's a way to open your body. It's a way to connect with whatever's in there physiologically. You can the breath in itself connects you to your nervous system, balances the hemispheres of the brain, focuses your mind. It gives you a chance to really listen in. I think there's so many exercises, and even yoga can be so vigorous and physically just in the ego that it's a way of checking out instead of checking in. And yoga is really a way of checking in with yourself. It's like one of the deepest ways. It's a real spiritual practice if you let it. A lot of people don't want to deal with the spiritual part of it, but you and I are spiritual entrepreneurs, so we get down with that, But I think for me, the yoga practice is a doorway into knowing myself more fully.
So one does not necessarily need to achieve that flexibility.
No. In fact, you start where you're at. The yoga practice, why yoga, I believe, is so popular, is because it meets you where you're at. Many of these other workouts, you have to conform to it. Yoga takes you right where you're at right now with whatever injuries and limitations you have and whatever flexibility you have and whatever ailments you have. It takes you and you work from that place forward. And it changes every day because your body's changing every day.
I remember Wayne Dyer was saying that he used to run every day because that's very rigid, and he did this change your thoughts, something like this, and he wasn't going with the flow. And then he said he ditched the running thing and he started doing yoga, and still he was, it was a good workout. So I recently have been wanting to regain my body because I put on a lot of emotional weight. I was under so much stress last year, and so I actually adopted the 10,000 steps because that's like what's that? It's a very recommended thing that you do every day. You walk 10,000 steps. And even so, when I did it, I feel good, but I don't feel like, I'm not sure what's the word to describe it, but I don't feel like I have actually achieved some kind of workout. But I'm also resisting yoga because I remember what Wayne says, you actually go with the flow and you actually, gain more, what's that? Resilience when you do yoga versus just walking. Is that correct?
Well, you are up against, when you get on the yoga mat, there's no place to hide. I love walking. I absolutely love walking. I don't really run all that much. My knees are a little wonky since high school, but when you get on the yoga mat, the reason you get, I know for me, because I've been practicing for many years now, even when I get resistant, it's because I don't want to deal with what I'm feeling.
Interesting.
And yoga will open you up to be able to listen to that inner guidance system, which is really, you can call it intuition, you can call it God force, you can call it whatever you want. But I find that the yoga practice is a way for me to really process things through my physical, like get it up into the physical body, because you can't disconnect your mind and your body and your spirit. It's impossible.
So can
we
I
try. We try, but we can't. Yeah.
So can I ask you a lame question? So can I
There's
lose
no
weight?
Lame questions. No lame question. Ask me anything.
Can I lose weight through yoga?
You can. You can. And here's what I will say. I'm in better shape than I was ever when I was working out 7 days a week. And I did. When I was, before I got married, I was working out 6 or 7 days a week. I had a gym that was open 24 hours, which, addictive personality is not a good idea, because I was there from like 10 till 1 o'clock working out, whatever it was after work. Anyway, you can lose weight. You have to be really consistent. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to be committed to the practice, just like anything else. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, there's not one real, I don't feel there's one, like anything, there's not one bullet. There's not one magic bullet. There's a combination of things. When I started practicing yoga, I no longer wanted to toxify my body with crappy food. I wanted to really eat well. Mm-hmm. And I did. I started changing. I detoxed my body. I started choosing foods better, and I got healthier, and I toned my body. Absolutely. You can absolutely lose weight. Mm-hmm. It's not cardio though. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I find I like both. But you will if you're committed to it. Yeah.
So what is your plan to merge, whatever the question will be, is to merge yoga with entrepreneurship, because you work with a lot of women entrepreneurs as well, right? So how do you suggest that we blend the two together? What's your intention?
So my work is so steep because I have all of these years of yoga on the mat and off the mat, because I've also been facilitating programs. I have my workshops. I have a yoga teacher's training. I've taught at Kripalu, and I've worked with that whole...
What does that Kripalu means? I think I saw that.
Sure. Kripalu is one of the largest yoga schools in the country, if not the world. And it's located in Massachusetts, in Lenox, Massachusetts. They have a whole curriculum of places there. I did my 500-hour teacher training there. Right. And I've presented there my own program, as well as have assisted there for over 12 years.
Wow.
So, it's my home away from home. And so the question you asked me was, how do I blend that working with entrepreneurs? So as an entrepreneur myself, I have quite a bit of miles on the car, if you will. So I've learned a lot of it. I had to learn by trial and error because there were no role models. Mm-hmm. It wasn't being modeled to me. My real passion, especially because I've been in this community for so very long, is to stop. Like, I am looking to see yoga teachers, holistic practitioners, spiritual light workers, whatever they call themselves, change makers on this planet, start being able to support themselves financially so that they are actually being able to create the bigger vision that they have in the world. So many of the yoga teachers and massage therapists I speak to, and health coaches even, they're working other jobs and this is kind of their side thing, but they really want their passion to be their main thing. Or, they've been doing it for a while, but they can't quite get past like that $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Like they're just struggling. And, it's like we become the starving actress of the modern day. The yoga teachers they're trading dollars for hours. When I first started teaching, I quit my corporate job and I was teaching 21 yoga classes a week.
Oh my God.
All over the map. I was angry. I was injured. I was frustrated. I was like, what happened to the time and money freedom I thought I was going to have from this really awesome career I just chose, Like I went from one place, from a corporate environment that felt really caging to an environment that I created that I loved that didn't feel much more liberating. So my work is really to help these women and coming into this environment or that have been doing it for a while into this industry to do it in a way that's going to get them to the end goal faster. So they don't have to wait 16 years to, well, for me, it took like about 12 to really figure out like, wow, this works, this doesn't, so that they have a better plan for their business. They understand who they're selling to. One of the biggest problems in the holistic industry is we try to help everybody. We want to help everybody because we know yoga specifically is so good for all beings that we want everybody to take it. But that really, you know what it is. If you don't niche down a little bit, it's like throwing a needle in a haystack and hoping something, throwing out your fit, just hoping a fish bites. And that's not a really good way to do business.
Right.
And there's no business training in this community. So my work is to take the yoga, how I blend it is I really take the philosophical and energetic yogic models of, the yamas and the niyamas, which is kind of like the 10 commandments of yoga and the energy of the chakra system. And I take that and I bring it into understanding the structure of your business so that it's really hot. It's really aligned with those same yogic sensibilities.
So is this program only for yoga teachers and or is it suitable for any women entrepreneurs?
Which program are you talking about? My teacher's training?
The last one that you just said, the business one, the financial.
Oh, the business one. Yes, that's actually about to launch. I haven't even fully launched it yet, so I'm really excited about it. But that is meant for existing and aspiring people that are yoga teachers, that want to be yoga teachers, holistic entrepreneurs, coaches, change makers, any woman that really wants to do that kind of work in the world and be able to actually create sustainable money, sustainable wealth with that.
Right. So you transition to becoming a business coach as well? Something like that?
I'm sorry?
Are you transitioning to become like a business coach as well in that department? What would you call yourself then?
I call myself a business mentor.
Right.
Because really I think that I can coach you on your business, absolutely. But the work for me, and I've seen this in my own journey and I see it in the journey of my clients, it's the inner work. It's the mindset. It's the way your self-worth. It's that energetic, all the things that are in your developmental physiological system through the energy systems of your body that will block you from creating and manifesting whatever you want, whether it's a business or a family or a home that you love or travel, whatever it is. And so my work is really focusing on this tribe that is in this camp. Right. However, I've worked with people I've worked with men, I've worked with people that are in corporate jobs, and a lot of my people are actually trying to transition and they're not quite sure how to let go of the safety net.
Right.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So you talked about safety net. When you jumped from your corporate job to this yoga business, did you let go of the safety net or were you actually holding on to a plan B?
No, I leapt. Well, here's what happened. It wasn't just like, screw this corporate job, I'm out. I knew about 2.5 years. As soon as I got on the yoga mat, I was like, this is what I got to do. And it took about 2 to 3 years till I leapt. So I stayed in my job. I got another job. I changed jobs so that I can get more money to pay for my training.
Right.
And I took the training, and while I was doing the training, I was involved in this yoga community at the studio, and I started to put classes together.
I think, you know what, Tracy, the thing is, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think most people don't get that part, and they just quit immediately, and they think, why is it not working? So Tracy made a very good point. It's like that was your safety net. You weren't dumb enough to just, I mean, I wouldn't use the word dumb, but I think when you're so overly excited, you don't know what the reality is. And the reality is a lot of people don't tell you about the reality. And therefore you hate at the end of the day, like what Tracy said, I was having 21 classes in a week, and I hated it, and you hated it. So it eventually caged you. I think you resent it more than your corporate job. At least you can go for a drink after your work, and now you simply can't. So for anyone who is really starting a business, that's what Tracy said. She took 2 to 3 years, before she actually left and she quit and, went on full time. So what advice do you have to give to the people who are, I mean, now if you have left, you really have no choice. You just got to suck it up. But that being said, there is no shame in getting a job because you still need to fulfill your daily needs. Right, Tracy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think for me, I knew I could make it work because I had the passion. Mm-hmm. And I wanted that. It wasn't so much safety net for me as peace of mind. So I knew that my paycheck was coming in, right, and I could dive deep into my study, deep into working with my mentors, deep into developing this new skill of mine and having all of my ducks in a row so that when I gave notice at my job, I was ready. You
brought up a good point, a peace of mind. To be honest, to be certified as a coach, it requires a lot of time and a lot of money if you want to really learn the good stuff. And it's not like you just get one certification and you're pretty done. You continuously educate yourself. So it's not fun. Let me paint you the picture. It's not fun when you just decide to quit a job. You have this enough of money to pay for your bills, and then you got to on top of that pay for your certification monthly thing, and then trying to get clients, and then trying to hone your skills. It's not funny. I see so many people in some high-end coaches, even in my own coaching program, they are so it's not that they want to drop out. I think it's just that they're so fascinated and they're so excited about the initial thing, and then they realize I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I can't keep up with it, and they start dropping out and they feel so shit about themselves. Oh my God, I can't pay and this and that. You don't want to put yourself in this situation. So what Tracy said, you want to have a peace of mind. And so, Tracy, how do we get to this state of a peace of mind and being a smart woman and not going to this overwhelmed thing?
Well, for me, it's really having a plan. First thing is you want to see what is your vision, and then map it out. What do you need to get from where you are to where you need to be? And don't get overwhelmed. I think there's realistic stuff and there's places where you can make quantum leaps, but to go from I'm working at a corporate job to I have 75,000 clients and I'm making 6 figures in my coaching business or yoga's business, it's not realistic. It's just, when it is realistic, you and I will celebrate it, but it's not realistic to think that that's going to be possible. No really good businesses are overnight successes. Mm-hmm. Not anything that's sustainable. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. And I think that the first thing is to have a plan.
Right.
I think, and I will tell you this right off the bat, and this is from my own personal experience. When I was developing, if I had known then what I know now, the first thing I would have done is hired a private coach. Because I did tons of, and this whole idea, I talk a lot about the money story, a little bit more about me, but I do a lot of training with my clients around money story because there's a very big lack consciousness in the holistic community, and especially in the yoga community.
The spiritual healing community is the same. So your passion is towards the yoga people, because I used to be a healer, and you brought up a point, the map, the plan, and most spiritual people, they don't want to talk about the plan. They just want to
totally
song and just attract. But the plan, so go ahead and tell us more about the plan.
I love what you just said. Yeah. Most of us, and this is where the energetic piece comes into place, like our energy systems, if you know anything about the chakras, most holistic spiritual yogis, they spend their time above the heart and above.
Yes.
And we need to learn how to go down into that manifestation. And that's so much of the work that I do as a coach, is really helping people bring it down, get it grounded into reality. So the plan,
Tracy, I want to tell you a joke.
Yes.
I was so obsessed with my crown chakra and like working. And then at some point, I want to just renounce everything and just go live on the mountains because I'm just so sick and tired of human beings. And then my friend said, well, instead of just going, go live on the mountains, why don't you try that little hill in Singapore first and see whether you can make it alive? And I'm like,
good plan. That's a good idea.
And I'm like, actually, you know what? I don't think I can really live up in the mountain. I'm such a silly girl. But at that time, you just thought, oh my God, I'm just done with human beings. I don't want everything to do with money. I'm just going to live up in the mountains and just live up of fresh air and sunshine, right? And then so she said, I think you should go try that little hill in Singapore first before you take that leap.
I think there is something noble about the nobility of retreat that is very powerful. As spiritual beings, I think there is a value to that. But I will say this, that you've got to check in with yourself with the yoga practice and with your real meditation and journaling and your own inner connection. Because I know for me, that wasn't fully who I wanted to be. Like, I have material desires and I'm not going to make excuses for that. I did for a very long time and I kept myself completely shut up.
You talked about material desires, and a lot of us, it's so funny, we did the same thing. And then a lot of us, when I was starting my spiritual journey, and then I started to making these material desires wrong.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I made them wrong. I felt like, oh my God, if I even mention the fact that I want to make a living, like a really good living, so that I can be more contributing more and more generous and be able to fund my life the way I wanted it to look, I wouldn't tell anybody that. I mean, I would not tell anybody that because I thought I was going to be completely ousted from the community of holistic and yoga teachers. Like, nobody wants that. The idea, renunciation was like what yogis did for years. But you know what? That was 600 BC, right? That was when skinny men were living in caves. That's not who we are. We brought yoga to the east, to the west, so that the city dweller could enjoy it. And as city dwellers, we have material needs and wants. So how do we adapt that? The work is, how do we adapt that with integrity and authenticity? And I think that it's with that real big picture, like really going in to see, what is it that I want? Why do I want it? And I think that we don't spend enough time on understanding like why we want it, because we think we shouldn't. Instantly, we're like, oh, I can't. We're afraid of our own desires because of what it might mean. And when we have that plan and we understand that there's actually a greater good that we want to come from what we desire is actually going to be for the good of all and the harm of none. That's when
I like it. Say that again.
For the good of all and the harm of none. Right?
Love it.
And then that becomes more, it feels like it's more in integrity than saying, oh, I really want to make six figures. People they can't comprehend that, especially in the camp that I work with. So it's actually not about, and I also want to clarify, it's not about making six figures. Some people don't want that or need that, but it's about not making your desires wrong. Like you said, exactly what you said, not making what you desire wrong, not making yourself wrong for having needs that other people may not be expressing, and having the support in place so that you don't give up on yourself. I abandoned myself time and time again before I had coaches. Time and again. I had mentors throughout my journey, but nobody really always there saying, what's happening? Keeping my own self in check, because it's hard for us to do everything by ourselves. There are some things that we cannot do by ourselves. There are some certain transformations that are not possible to do alone. I've tried.
Right. So, I mean, are all your different umbrellas that you talk about under the same website? If not, then where can we find you?
So I have a website called tracyrobin.com. That's where my yoga lifestyle home is, really. And in there is where I'm sort of bringing everything together. My Shine Yoga Center site is really, right now, it's in the process of being kind of revamped up, but that's mostly for my in-person classes at my studio in my brick and mortar location.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been doing more things online. I've been doing yoga classes on Zoom, which has been super cool because you can see me, I can see you. I can give you alignment corrections, and I love that because it opens up a global community.
Mm-hmm.
And find me at tracyrobin.com. I also have a yoga lifestyle group and a page on Facebook, and that's a really great way to get in touch with me. I have an Instagram account at Tracy Robin WR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what is like the number one yoga lifestyle tip that you can give us busy entrepreneurs? Or, we're always sitting down. Is there a little pose that you can show us where we can shortcut everything and just do everything while we're sitting down?
Well, there's not really a way to sum it up because there's many parts of your body that are not being used when you're sitting.
I was trying to find that magic pill. If you know.
I know. If you find it, can you let me know?
I will. When I go into the Varna state, I will meditate and ask.
Excellent. Make sure you text me. So there's some simple things you can do. The idea is I think there's a couple things you can set a timer, for every hour or half an hour to take a few deep breaths.
Oh, okay.
Just consciously get in touch with your breathing. You can stop in that same time, every 45 minutes to an hour and a half, somewhere in there when you feel like you're stiff, you can take a little twist, do a little twist, do a little side lean. It doesn't have to be complicated to be effective.
Right.
And I think, we look at these pictures in magazines and on, everybody's got their, I can do all those things, but those they're fun and they feel great, but that's not where you start. You don't start doing yoga with your foot behind your head. You know what I mean? You've got to master the breath. Yeah, you've got to master the breath first. And then you've got to master the side lean. And then a twist. There's so many basic things. I do have actually an instructional yoga video, which I might be able to plug. Shameless plug, which you can buy actually on my website.
Sure.
And it's good for beginners and intermediate practitioners. You work at your own pace. My policy is you always work at your own pace because you can't, that's not doing a service to your body if you don't. But, yeah, so you can do some stretches. I would say you can do every hour, a little chime on your desktop that you stop and take 5 deep breaths. And
so I noticed you kept saying breath. So can you tell us a little bit quickly why is breathing that important, or what do you mean by deep breaths? What's the difference?
So conscious breath is what I'm saying. So conscious breath really tunes in to your nervous system and the hemispheres of your brain. So the breath that we use is a little breath lesson for everybody. The breath that you use is called Ujjayi breath. That's what we use through the practice, and it translates to victorious sounding breath control. Nice. And you move it through the nostrils only. So the inhalation is through the nose as if you were going to yawn. So the throat stays nice and open. And you fill your belly, lungs, and chest. And then out through the nose like you were fogging up a window with your mouth closed, chest, lungs, and belly. And it sounds like the ocean. Do you hear it? Mm-hmm. So you breathe in. You got it. And you breathe out. And at first, it might feel like you get a little head rush because you're oxygenating so much more than you used to. But you just take a break, and then
feel like everything is amplified now in my third eye.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so think about taking 5 deep breaths. Even just taking those 5 deep breaths in the middle of your workday, you might get more inspiration. You might get more energy. There's so many different techniques that you can use to break the monotony in your workday, especially if you're sitting at the computer. They make these computers now where you can stand, like a standing desk, which I'm considering getting, because then you can just, you move around. The other thing is leave your yoga mat next to your desk, and then every now and again get on there and stretch. I love to do a side lean. I'll see if you can see it. let me see if I can bring it down. Like, so here would be something I would do. I would take my arm up and overhead and lean to the side. There you go. And you want to sit up nice and tall. You can take a few breaths there, bring it up, and then take it over to the other side. And then come back up. Just even that, and then a twist. Sitting up tall. And then the other way. Now for each of those poses, you take about 2 to 3 breaths. Three breaths would be great if you can do it, because then you're really getting some movement and oxygen in there. Just for a little break at the computer. The back, I know there's a bunch of stuff that people say that they get like lower back pain from sitting a lot. There's a great, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can take your ankle over your thigh and sit and then lean forward. I don't think you can see it if I do it this way. So your ankle goes over your thigh. My pretty socks. It's a little cold here in New Jersey. It's supposed to be warmer, but it's not. But anyway, so does that help?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, that helps a lot. I mean, it's simple. It's not like I got to put my, it's cool. I love the breathing exercises because, I mean, I actually feel, I have this, I need to wear glasses. So suddenly I feel like there's this spurt of like clarity in my eye. I don't know, maybe I should continue to do that. I don't know.
There's a great book out there called Take Off Your Glasses and See. It's an old book that I've had for a while, and I've actually improved my prescription using it.
Wow. I must get the book.
And there's eye yoga you can do as well. There's eye yoga you can do. It's like you focus on a point and it's like exercising the muscle of your eyes.
I think that's so needed as well because we're always, on the computer and I think my eyesight kind of like got worse because I'm so, I'm on the computer all the time. So I think, yeah, totally. So entrepreneurs, we should get that light bulb thing and
maybe I'll do a video for eye yoga. That's a great idea. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do a little free video. Everyone can have their eye yoga.
Cool. So we should definitely hop onto Tracy. Not sure. We need to hop onto tracyrobin.com and get the eye yoga thing. I mean, we got to love our eyes. I mean, it's really scary making all the money, but then at the end of the day, your body is not in pink of health, then there's no point making all the money. You make all the money and you spend all the money. So might as well just, take precaution right away and take care of your body and take care of, I mean, it's freaking me out, I mean, it's scary to think that if you have so much work to do and you lose one of your senses, it's not fun at all. So might as well.
Totally. And I'll tell you one last thing, like, I know for myself, if I don't take care of myself, I don't make money. Like self-care for me is number one. First and foremost, if I'm not doing my self-care practice and whatever that means, for some people it could be walking. For me, it's yoga, meditation, journaling, massage.
Yeah.
Those are like my top 4 things. There's a bunch of other stuff. I like to walk and I eat really well. Most of the time. But, the self-care, here's the thing, you're the instrument through which you do your work. And if it's not optimally functioning, you won't function either. And that energy that, I talked about earlier, like moving the chakras, that manifestation, like those channels need to be open for you to be able to give from your work, for your work, and also to receive from your work. And that's part of why the yoga on the mat is so important, because it opens up those channels. Wow. And the yoga off the mat gets the energetic piece to match, right? It gets your mental and emotional stuff up to par with the physical and energy.
Cool. That's so awesome. I always say the body is a temple of God. So if you take care of your own temple, you are respecting God. So, alrighty, Tracy, such a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for all the knowledge and, so generously sharing all the tips and, without hurting ourselves. And so definitely it has piqued my interest on yoga and it has reactivated my, I would say, love right now for yoga, but definitely I'll give it a go right now, taking it more seriously. All right. So thank you for joining us, Tracy, and thank you for joining us as well for another wonderful episode. So I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.